Hello, and welcome to the CDAO Magazine interview series. I'm Jeff Burlin, Senior Director of Executive Engagement Programs at Twilio. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Mano Mannoochahr, Chief Data, Analytics, and AI Officer at Verizon. Welcome, Mano.
Thank you, Jeff. Excited to be here.
You've had an impressive career. I want to jump right in. And you've held over that time a number of senior data and analytics leadership roles prior to your time at Verizon. I'm curious, how do you think the CDAO and the CIO role has changed over the last 10 years?
Yeah, great place to start. I think if I think about, my journey and overall how the role has been evolving, if I were to guess, it started about maybe 15 years ago or so, largely in the financial industry and, geared more towards defensive posture, governance oriented. Then it kind of stepped into what I would say analytics kind of came in, reporting came in. And then there was a second phase of this where it really started to be led through the eye of technology. And, the companies and industries realized that, hey, there's a lot of heavy lifting that has to happen from a technology perspective. So you saw a wave of CDOs coming in with strong technology background versus business background. And then certainly over the last 5 years or so, I think we have entered the third phase, which is really centered around people who have had experience with AI, who can sit with the business stakeholders, understand the business, and be able to drive, the next level of innovation inside of the business. So I think it has completely turned around 90 degrees, I would say, over the course of good 15-year plus timing, where it went from very governance oriented to now
Sure.
leading a lot of the transformation and innovation inside of most large companies.
I couldn't agree more. And I think one thing that I see in a lot of our customer conversations is the prominence of the CDO, the CIO, the CTO roles in organizations have really become that point at which everybody comes together around data, around technology, around business impact. And I think folks in your position are leading the charge in a lot of ways at their organization, bringing the business together to really transform both for the now and for the future. Um, Now, you mentioned technology and how that's changed over time. I think that's probably an understatement, and especially in the last 1 to 2 years, we've seen that pace of change accelerate. In your career, how have you managed to stay at the forefront of both the technological change as well as a lot of the industry trends that have both driven that change and changed the way that as business leaders we need to think about how we apply those solutions?
Well, I wish I could say it was part of a big master plan that I conjured up 25 years ago, but as you can imagine, this is a bit of what I would call luck, bit of timing, bit of deliberate timing in some ways, and a bit of passion, right? From my perspective, if I go back to 1993, I think it was the year where I started my master's, and it was all in machine learning. So I got lucky, but
Oh,
I
wow.
entered right a phase into what was considered, I think, the second AI winter. So, I didn't get a chance to apply a lot of the what I had been learning as far as programming the neural networks with from scratch from hand, which obviously is done very differently today. But it
Right.
wasn't until a role at John Deere where I, started to really learn the data space. We had launched an IoT enabled set of products and just got overwhelmed with data. And I think, that's where I really started to build that muscle. And it was 2007, 8, 9 timeframe. And then it just kind of built on that. I mean, I think, it's one of those things where you can never, connect the dots looking forward. You can only do them in the rearview mirror, right? And I think if I look
Sure.
back, there were a lot of connections like that where, one thing led to another, and here we are.
It's interesting that a circuitous path that brings us to where we are. I think it's that diversity of experience, both in industry and technology and solutioning and leadership roles that honestly I think have best prepared a lot of folks like yourself for the positions that you find yourself in today.
Totally agree. I mean, I think one of the things
Yeah.
maybe underpinning this all is the curiosity and desire to learn and continue to evolve, because this space is just unbelievable. The pace has really
Yeah.
accelerated over the course the last few years. So I think you've got to have the inquisitive mind to continue to grow and progress.
And a process too, because I find that keeping up can feel overwhelming at times. But if you have, your places, your people that you're engaging with, that you're talking to, that you're learning from, there's a way to do it, in a very scalable sort of sense that seems a little
Totally
bit more
agree. Yeah,
achievable.
yeah. No, I think to your point, I've got what I call my learning cycles, right? It's all the bits and news that you see every day, whether it's the Google search app or
Yep,
Medium app, Substack, and these are things I kind of listen and subscribe to. Then you got your weekly cycles, which are all about podcasts and whatnot, right? You got Last Week in AI is one of my favorite. I will also say Lex Friedman podcast is really
yep,
good as well. Acquired is another one that I've acquired a taste for now. So those are the kind of weekly, and then of course you get your monthly cycles that you may be reading books and whatnot. So I
for
think it's
sure.
a combination of learning and staying ahead in terms of what's happening from a change perspective.
I hear the CDO magazine interview sessions are really good learning tools as well.
There you
Um,
go. Great job to
now,
you and the team there.
well, thank you. No, Mano, I know you have the Chief AI Officer title in at Verizon now, and in particular, as we've gotten to know each other, I know you've talked a lot about this idea of applied AI. I'm curious, as you're learning, as you're identifying opportunities of where AI can be applied to the business, how are you leveraging all of the changes, all of the AI technologies that are available to both optimize, but also ultimately think about how you're transforming the business for Verizon?
Agreed. So I think maybe just stepping back a little bit, if we think about the AI strategy at Verizon here, we've got three pillars to that. I think one you touched on, which is really applied AI, and I think I'll do a maybe double click on that, which is all about enhancing our customer experience, driving efficiencies, personalization for our employees as well as our customers, enhancing engineering development life cycles, and overall just optimizing our capital investments, as you can imagine in its
Right.
industry like telecom, very heavy capital and intensive. The second pillar for us is really leveraging AI to build personalized products and solutions for our customers, whether that's infusing AI into our product offering and service offerings, or driving the next level of automotive automation, empowering that, and building more and more device intelligence. And the last pillar really is around AI Connect, which is where we're enabling the AI ecosystem overall and really serving the need for the bandwidth that AI will consume and need, and our partnerships with hyperscalers there and dark fiber, and and even to the point where we've got power, space, and cooling through our central offices, whereas AI
Wow.
moves more and more to the edge. So that's our AI Connect pillar. So I think now double clicking on applied AI, and that's really around just ensuring that we're of course, transforming the business through AI. I mean, I think you can imagine the transformative power of AI. How are we reconfiguring work? How are we reimagining our current
Sure.
business process, the frontline work, and really ensuring that that is employees are as productive, as efficient, and more importantly, driving better and better outcomes for our customers and making their journeys easier and simpler and touch points. I think there's another aspect of that really has come in, I would say, as AI has gotten more sophisticated, which is really, it's not just about transformation, but think about the day-to-day running of the business and how do we optimize that? And that largely takes form of data and analytics and moving up the curve in sophistication on analytics. Moving from basic reporting to diagnostic reporting, moving into predictive, AI, and applying, being able to have where we are accelerating time to insight. So there's a lot of opportunity, as far as from a short-term perspective, and how do we continue to deliver industry-leading performance in our from a business outcomes perspective, and
Yeah.
also how do we over time then transform and reimagine our current business and processes.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think as I talk to a lot of Twilio's customers. We're in this unique moment where there's a real win-win for customers and for businesses as they're investing in some of these core technologies like AI. It makes the way that employees work faster, they're more productive, they're more efficient. It offloads some of the things that they, frankly, are just the cognitive load are too high, and it
Mhm.
allows folks the freedom to focus on things that really drive value for them, for their colleagues, and ultimately for customers. And as you said, things like personalization and even just more contextual engagement, better outreach, better sales and marketing, better support, all of those things or outcomes that benefit customers as well. So I think overall, maybe historically, we've had to think more about trade-offs as we make investments in
Mhm.
technology, but we're really in this age where we have a win-win opportunity that I'm really excited about.
I think if you just pick, I'll pick one use case, right? As from a customer touch point perspective, and how are we improving their experience with our services and offerings. Soon if you're a Verizon customer and you're calling us about something, anything,
Mhm.
as soon as you place that call, first of all, we know who you are, but at the same time, we have actually models that are trying to predict why you might be calling, what journey
Right.
were you in, and what were you experiencing. And as soon as we can figure that out, then we can figure out, hey, which customer service rep should we match you with that can best resolve your issue that you may be having. So I
Right.
think that's another model that's trying to find the best match for you at that moment. And then as soon as, of course, the call starts, we've got multiple models in real time. We're one of the first in the industry to pioneer and champion that are listening and advising our customer service rep, hey,
Mm.
here's the next best action. Here's what you can do to meet this customer need and satisfy the issue or a challenge that they may be having. So I think that's just one small example. But to your point, we're really trying to figure out how do we start to make every transaction on our front line be AI infused
Yeah.
and just make it that much better of a unpleasant of experience for our customers as well as our employees and reduce that cognitive workload that they've got to go through to be able to do their daily job.
Well, Mano, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a really fantastic conversation, and I hope we'll have a chance to do it again sometime in the near future. And for all those who are joining us virtually, thank you for the time as well. For more interviews and insights, please visit cdomagazine.tech, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you, Jeff. And I will say just maybe close this off with saying, hey, at Verizon, we're using AI to build a better business, better customer and employee experience, and to make the best network even better. Thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you again soon.
Okay.